let's do another little mini drill to practice working with Pythagorean theorem. So let's take a look at this first one. X, 15, and 17. Should we plug in what are we going to put into the C position? If we're going to do a squared plus b squared is c squared, is the x, the 15, or the 17? Which one goes in for C? Good, good. So we'll say a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We'll put the 17 in for the c and the x and the 15 for the other two numbers. Then we'll say x squared plus 15 squared is 17 squared. So we'll use our calculators to find out what 15 squared is and what 17 squared is. Now we know 17 squared is 289. We were just practicing with that. What's 15 squared, my friends? If you have a calculator handy, you can use it. Good, 225, yes. And I just thought I would introduce you to Pinky because he just came in. Say hi to everybody, Pinkerton. Here he is. Yes, he's a good boy. Yeah, he's a good boy. Okay. I think he's hungry. He's like, don't cuddle me. I just want disgusting mush in my bowl. Okay, so we have x squared plus 225 is 289. No, he is a very good boy. X squared plus 225 is 289. So what would x squared equal, my friends? Oh, he's your emotional support buddy, right? Your math buddy. Right, LT? So so if we subtract 225 on both sides, that would be doing algebra, right? We're going to subtract 225 on both sides to get x squared by itself. We get x squared is 64. Then we think, hey, what number times itself is 64? Or what is the square root of 64? And a bunch of you are saying, I know, right? I know the number that times itself is 64, but if you didn't, you could ask your calculator, hey, calculator, what's the square root of 64? And your calculator will tell you that it is 8. Really good work, you guys. Really good work. Let's do one more. Now, what I'm going to do is, for just a moment, I'm turning off chat. Okay? I'm going to give you guys a few moments to see if you can work this one out. Just give it a try. See if you can do it. I will be right here. I'm just going to be quiet for like 30 seconds, okay? Give it a try. All right. I'm going to turn back on the chat. All right. So let's run through it together. I think it is, Alexandros. So, yes. So, um, so we get a squared plus b squared is c squared. In this case, the x goes in for the c, right? We're going to say 9 squared plus 12 squared is x squared. Then we say 9 squared is 81 and 12 squared is 144. We add the 81 and the 144 and we get 225. Then we say, hey, what's the square root of 225? And we'll say that x is 15. So notice that x is 15. It's not any other number. It just is 15. The answer is 15, right? So x squared is 225, but x itself is 15, right? Um, so how are you guys feeling? Is this kind of clicking? Are you feeling okay about it? How you guys doing? It's making some sense? It's a pretty cool formula, right? If you just follow the rules, if you know which one's the hypotenuse, you can do it. Oh, that's good to hear. Good, good. All right. Let's do one more. Again, I'm just going to turn off chat for just like 30, 45 seconds. I'm going to let you guys try this, and we'll check in just a moment. All right. Now, we are going to say we'll start with our a squared plus b squared is c squared, and then our hypotenuse is our 13, right? So we're going to put 13 in for the c, and then the x and the 12 go into the other two spots in whatever order, doesn't even really matter. And then we're going to square these numbers. 12 squared is 144, and 13 squared is 169. Again, that little 2 that's up high, that means multiply the number times itself, right? Yes, a lot of you are getting it. I see. So then we get x squared plus 144 is 169. We'll subtract 144 on both sides to get the x squared by itself. And we see x squared is 25. Then we think, hey, what number times itself is 25? And that number is 5. So our final answer is 5. X is 5. All right. How you guys feeling? Feeling good? Woo. I want to get like a soundboard so I could play like applause noises. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it. All right. Now, let's try our first in format question of the day. I think you can do it. It's going to be a little tiny bit trickier than the ones we've been doing, but I think you can do it. So this is the GED answer poll. Um, Now, while the poll is open, please do not spoiler the answer in chat. I'm going to hop off cam and mic to give you guys a minute or so to work on this one. Do your best. We'll check in soon. All right. Fantastic work in the poll, you guys. Let's talk this one through. So, um, now the question is asking us for the diagonal brace. So the diagonal brace must be this one here, right? So even though the problem doesn't explicitly say, hey, what's the hypotenuse of this right triangle? In essence, that is what it's saying. So we have one side that's 5 and another side that's 11, and we need the c side. So we're going to say a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 5 squared plus 11 squared is c squared. 121 plus 25 is c squared. 146 equals c squared. Then you have to ask your calculator, hey, calculator, buddy, what is the square root of 146? And your calculator will say it's 12.08, blah, 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 blah. And then we choose the answer that comes closest to that. Now notice it's 12.08, right? So if something costs $12.08, the thing that's closest to that would be $12.10, right? So if you imagine that there's an extra zero at the end, right? There's a big difference between saying $12.08 versus $12.80, right? So the answer that comes closest is choice D. All right, my friends? So if you either got this one right or feel like you learned something from the process, give me a smiley or a thumbs up. If you feel confused and you want to hear it one more time, so somebody said, please explain it again, maybe you can reach out in Q&A, okay? So send a message into Sasha, say, hey, I'm still a bit confused on number 3. And hopefully Sasha can take you through one more time. But basically, they're just asking you for the length of the line that I colored in bright green there. And we used Pythagorean Theorem, which is what we've been practicing for the past little bit, okay? So if you need a little help, reach out in Q&A to Sasha, okay? I hope that is helpful. Q&A is a separate thing than the chat. So it's a separate window. All right. So look for it in your more and it will say Q&A. Okay. All right. So, oh, there we go. Lost my chat. There we go. Okay. Here is another right triangle problem. So you can again practice Pythagorean theorem. They don't give you a drawing. So I would recommend that you try on your scrap paper to draw a quick right triangle and label the information they've given you, and then use that to help you plug the information into Pythagorean theorem. You can use a calculator to help you finish it. Oh, wait, hold on. The poll won't help us here because this is a type in the answer yourself. So I'm just going to turn off chat for just like a minute, and then you can type the answer in, but you won't be able to send it yet. And then when I turn chat back on, you can send it. All right. So I'm just going to be quiet for like a minute and let you guys think, and we'll check in soon. All right, let me turn chat back on. All right, go ahead and tell me if you have an answer. We have some answers that are repeating. It's a good thing. Let's see. So, if we kind of drew a picture here, we could label one side like A, like B, and the hypotenuse C. Like A is X meters. We don't know what it is. Like B is 3 meters. We do know it's 3 meters. And we'll call our hypotenuse C, and it is 6 meters. That is just the information they gave us, right? That one side is 3 meters and the hypotenuse is 6 meters. So we can plug that into our a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We know that we'll just call ax now so that we can find it. That's when we don't know what it is. B is 3 because they told us one side is 3. And then C is 6 because we know the hypotenuse is 6. Now we're just going to do algebra. And if you're a little rusty at algebra, maybe you just need to go back to the algebra lesson. It's okay. We'll cycle back around to it sooner or later. So using the rules of algebra, we would do 3 squared is 9 and 6 squared is 36. Then to solve for x, we subtract 9 on both sides. Whatever's happening to the x, we do the opposite of it. So the x squared is having 9 added to it, so we'll subtract 9 because subtracting is the opposite of adding. We'll subtract 9 on both sides, and we get x squared is 27. That's not a number that we can easily find the square root of, so we'll have to ask a calculator for help. If we take the square root of 27, we will find that it is 5.19 blah, 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 blah. Now we have to round to the nearest tenth. The tenth is the digit right after the decimal point, and since it goes 5.19, we would round up to 5.2. So as a lot of you are saying, it is 5.2. Now, I saw some of you had like 5.19 and stuff like that. And so you would say it's 5.2, right? But I think you guys got it. I'm seeing a lot of good answers here. Um, so notice though on test day, if you had typed in 5.19, they would have marked that incorrect, which I think is unfair. Like I would be mad on your behalf if that happened to you, and I just don't want that to happen to you. So make sure you pay attention. If they say to the nearest tenth, that is what they mean, and make sure you follow instructions. If you had typed in 5.1, 5.19, something like that, it would have been wrong. You have to type in 5.2, okay? So, but if you got 5.19, it shows that you're learning the skills that we're practicing today, so good work. So we're going to do a mini practice now. So um, first, we're going to practice deciding if you need area or perimeter. So if you're putting up wallpaper, what do you think you need, area or perimeter? You're going to buy some wallpaper, you're going to put wallpaper up on your walls. Yeah, it's going to be, you need to think about how much space it's covering, right? Not just the edges, but the space. That's area. This would be area. Cool. Now, what if you're putting ribbon around the edge of a picture frame? Is that area or perimeter? Yeah, that's perimeter, right? That's perimeter. When I was little, I had like a border around the top of my room, like a flowered border. So that would be like perimeter, right? Yeah, like wall trims. That could be perimeter, right? What if you're putting a fence around your garden? Is that area or perimeter? Yes. putting a fence is perimeter, right? That's the outside. That's the outside. Really, it's just perimeter. You just need to know perimeter. It's just around the edge, right? So you need to know how much space, like to line around the outside. That's perimeter. What if you're putting carpet? Well, height is something different, right? You just sort of decide how tall you want the fence to be. Now, for carpet, you probably want to know that's more area, right? Not the kind of carpet where you buy a rug, but like you're putting down wall-to-wall carpet, right? And you're buying it by the square foot. That's area. Yeah, yeah, that's more area, right? So we're just trying to like get used to area and perimeter. There can be exceptions to all this stuff, but we're going big picture here because what if you get a word problem, right? I want you to start in the right place, finding the right thing, right? What if you do a really good job finding the area, but what you needed was the perimeter? That would be frustrating, right? So take that moment to be like, wait, is it the inside or around the edge, right? Yeah. Um, so if you're looking for a new home or a new apartment, you'll often see the space inside measured in square footage. They'll often put that with a little FT and then a little square. That means square footage. They're measuring the area inside, right? Um, okay, so here's our little mini practice. So we're going to say that all of these are shown in centimeters. So for number one, what would the area of that first one be? Here, we're practicing triangles with a little drill that's not in your PDF. We're just practicing finding the area of a triangle using formula. Remember, D, one thing, check the formula again. What's missing? Nice, good catch, LT. Good. Remember, area is 1/2 base times height. We have to remember that for triangles, right? Because you know that the test maker is going to put 48 there as an answer, right? For somebody who forgets to cut it in half, they're always going to do that, right? Don't like it, but they're going to do it, so we got to be prepared. Yeah, no, 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 no. Yes, I didn't say it yet. That's true, D. I knew you knew. I just thought maybe you'd forgotten. But yes, you got it. You got it. Good, good. All right, good work, everybody. Let's do one more. For the letter B, what are the base and height? What are the base and height? Good. Our base and height are 8 and 11. Nice. And so we'll use our area formula, 1/2 base times height. And good. I'm seeing it. Nice. Good, really good, you guys. It is. It's 11 times 8 divided by 2, which, as a lot of you are saying, is 44. Really, really good. Now, this last one's a little bit of a trick. I'm just going to turn off chat for just a second, let you guys try to figure out what do you think the base and the height are, and what would the area be. I'm just going to be quiet for just a moment and let you guys decide. What do you think? We'll check in with each other in like 20 seconds. Okay, friends. Yeah, the base is the bottom. Exactly, Matthew. Yes. So the base and the height, as you are saying, are 10 and 17. Really good. Really good. Notice that they're not touching each other, but if we extended the lines, they would meet at a 90, right? So we do 10 times 17, but divide it by 2. And we do, in fact, as some of you are saying, we get 85. So Now we have practiced. You guys killed it. Yeah. Nice work. So you guys are ready to try something a little bit trickier. Okay. Now, I know this is a little tricky, but I think you can do this. All right. I'm going to be quiet and let you guys try it for a little bit. And after like maybe 45 seconds, I'm going to pop back in and give you a hint on how to keep going. Okay. So I do have some ideas. All right. But I'm going to let you guys start it on your own. And then I'm going to give you a big hint and then we'll review the whole thing together. Got it? All right. I'll see you in a moment. Okay. This is my hint for you. Anytime they ask you for the area of a shaded region, like when they color in part of it and not the rest of it, you find the answer by finding the area of one shape and subtracting the area of another shape. So you'll have to do a few distinct steps here. See if that helps you a bit. We'll check back in about another 45 seconds. Keep trying your best. All right, so remember, shaded region, subtract. Shaded region, subtract. Let's talk about it. All right, so, oh, I'm glad that was helpful. Thank you. All right, let's see. Now, the grass portion is everything in the yard except for the patio. So our big plan is going to be to find the area of that whole rectangle. Then we'll subtract away the patio, right? And that will give us the grass, right? So the big rectangle, and we'll subtract away that small white rectangle, and that will give us the gray rectangle. So let's find the area of the big gray rectangle. That would be 18 times 24, right? Length times width. So the area of the big rectangle is 432. Again, you can ask your calculator for some help on that. You're like, hey, calculator, what's 18 times 24? Calculator's like, I got you, bro. It's 432. Okay. Then we find the area of our little patio. The patio is 9 by 12. Again, we ask our calculator, hey, calculator, what's 9 times 12? It says it's 108. So for our final step, we're going to take the 432 and subtract away the 108, and that gives us 324. Yeah, which is a match for choice C. So if you either got it right or feel like you learned something from the process, which is just as important, give me a smiley or thumbs up. If you feel still very confused, go ahead and ask. So private chatter, this is my first time joining live classes. This is a way to view previous lives. Aaron, reach out in Q&A. You can access it through the More. And we started at 8 o'clock Eastern, so you might be joining a little late, but reach out in Q&A and Sasha can help get you up to speed, okay? Because we want to make you feel like you're up to speed, all right? We're here to help. We're glad that you could make it. Um, so really good work, you guys. Let's do a little circle drill, okay? So, radius, diameter, circumference, and area are all connected. If you know one of the four, you can find the other three. Let's do an exercise together, and then you guys can try the next ones on your own. So let's say the radius of a circle is 4. Thanks, Kamarla. Let's say the radius of a circle is 4. To find the diameter, you take the radius and times it by 2, and that would give you the diameter is 8. Then to find the circumference, you just take the diameter and you write pi after it. So you can just say it's 8 pi. Most of the time on a test like this, um, you would you could just type it in as 8 pi, like they would ask for it in terms of pi. Now, if they wanted it not in terms of pi, you could ask your calculator. Most calculators have a pi key, and if not, you can just do 8 times 3.14, and that should be fine. And then for the area, you take your radius, which in this case is 4, you square it, so you would get 16, and then you write pi after it. So it's pi r squared. All right? So if you know any of the 4, you can find all of the 4. Um, so let's try the one below it. See the one where it says radius is 3? If the radius is 3, what would the diameter be? Good. Really good. Bravo. Yes, it is 6. If the radius is 3, the diameter is 6. You take your radius, you just multiply it by 2. Voila, you have your diameter. Next, for circumference, what would the circumference be? Some of you are already telling me. Good. Yes, you just take your circumference and you just write pi. Sorry, you just take your diameter and write pi after it. Done. Right? Now, if you wanted to find it to the nearest decimal, you would do 6 times 3.14. And then for area, what would the area be? Careful, Dion. We're not timesing by 2, right? Yes, good. We take our radius and we square it, right? So our radius is 3. Good. We square it and we get 9 exactly. Ruedo, ruedo, ruedo. I hope I'm saying it right. Good. You're fine. So we'll take our radius and square it, get 9, and then write pi. That's okay. A lot of times people get confused between squaring and timesing by 2. This is really, really normal. So that's why we're practicing, just to kind of get the hang of it. So even if you got it, like if you missed it a little bit, how you guys feeling? Is it making sense? Right? You just got to remember which is which, right? It's like learning the rules to a board game or something. You just got to learn it. Squaring is not doubling though, Matthew. Squaring is multiplying by itself, right? If you take 5 and double it, you get 10. If you take 5 and square it, you get 25. So if your boss said to you, hey, do you want me to double your salary or square it? You want them to square it, right? Unless you make less than $2 an hour, then you'd want them to double it. You'd want them to square it, right? Definitely. Please square my salary. That would be awesome, right? Because then if you made $10 an hour, now you make $100 an hour. That would be great. Okay. So, um, good, very good. I was just about to ask you guys. So the radius for the next one, if the diameter is 10, go ahead and tell me. A couple of you already have, but I'd love to see you all chime in. If the diameter is 10, what's the radius? Good. Then it would be 5, right? So notice, if you know the diameter, you can find the radius. Just cut the diameter in half. There we go. It's 5. Now, remember, for circumference, what do we do? What would the circumference here be? Good. For circumference, we use the diameter and we just type pi after it. Really good, like you guys are doing. 10 pi, right? 10 pi. Take your circumference and write pi. And it would be about 31.4. Exactly, Alexandros. And then our area, we'll take our radius, we square it, and don't forget the pi, right? So you could say it's 25 pi. Or it would be like a bit more than 75 if you multiplied it by 3.14, right? 78.5, that sounds right, Dee. That does sound right. Cool, very good. All right, for this next one, I'm giving you the circumference is 14 pi. So if the circumference is 14 pi, what would the radius be? Good, the radius would be 7. Right, nice. The radius would be 7. What would the diameter be? 14. Exactly. 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 Now, slightly tricky, but we can do it. What's the area? Don't forget the pi, though. Don't forget the pi, right? A couple of you got the 49, but you got to remember the pi, right? So, good. 49 pi, right? So we take our 7, we times it by itself. 7 times 7 is 49. Then we square it, right? Times it by itself. Then we put a pi after it. So we can say it's 49 pi, or probably right around 150-ish, right? So there you go, 153.86. That sounds right, Dee. Okay. And for our very last one from this set, if I give you the area, let's find the radius. If the area is 16 pi, what would the radius be? Yes, the radius would be 4. Oh yeah, I guess we already did this one. I guess I should fix this. Because we did already do this one. If the radius is 4, the diameter is 8, and the circumference is 8 pi. Yeah, it was the example. I should fix that one. But I hope you still found the exercise helpful, and you see how if you know any one of the 4, you can find the other ones in the set, right? It's just a matter of remembering when do you square, when do you times by 2, right? It does take a bit of practice, but that's okay. That's what you're here to do. You're here to practice, all right? So, absolutely take a screenshot of this. I'll smile. E. Um, this is how we enter it on the test, private chatter. On the test, they probably wouldn't. This is more of a drill, right? So this is just to practice finding these points or this information. But on the test, you're more likely to get a multiple choice test, a multiple choice question, right? They'll tell you what they want. But so far, you guys are doing awesome. We have time for this last problem? I think we do. Let's do this one last question, all right, my friends? I'm going to reset the poll. I think you can do this. I really do. Um, Give it a try. We'll check in about a minute. Do your best. We'll see you. All right, let's review since we're almost out of time. So we need the length of the border, which is basically asking us for the circumference. To find the circumference, we're going to use that the circumference is equal to pi times the diameter. They're telling us the diameter is 12, so we know our circumference is 12 pi. And then in this case, we can use 3.14 for pi, or maybe your calculator has a pi symbol, which is entirely likely. Multiply that by 12, and we get about 37.68, which comes closer to choice C than any of the other answers. I saw some people pick B, and I think you got it right. But you were on the right track, but maybe you just did 12 times 3. Remember, you have to kind of round up a little bit, all right? So if you got B just because you forgot that pi isn't exactly 3, it's a little more than 3, that's normal. Just remember next time, go ahead and do it in your calculator and you'll get it. Okay, my friends?